Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Robson Grieve, Chief Marketing Officer.
Good afternoon. Okay. Welcome back, man. We've had a flying start to today also. Couple things I wanted to find out how many people have spent their $50 yet. Is there, just show of hands. I did also learn that Tim, the safety guy, has his avatar going to tonight's PTA meeting also. So we'll see how that works out. We have some amazing customers, and all of you have great stories to tell. It's the best thing about this conference is getting to talk with each of you and learn what you do. And I'm not sure I'm allowed to share some of the things I got last night, but just some videos and stories that were really incredible in terms of the applicability of our product in your business. And so we wanted to spend an hour today talking to a couple of customers and learning more about their business. You probably know, because you do it, our product is used in some of the most stressful environments in the world, places where it's extremely hot or extremely cold, where there's bad weather all the time, and that creates all kinds of challenges. And in a steel mill where there's molten lava flowing around, this could turn bad at any time. So these are really important places, and we want to be ready for any of these most stressful environments. And so I want to bring up to stage someone who could tell us some stories about an environment just like that. So coming to the stage is Jeff Suellentrop, who is the Chief Information and Technology Officer at Phoenix Global, and of course our own Ryan Plutnicki, our Chief Customer Officer. Come on up. Next.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Plutnicki, our Chief Customer Officer. So I look after our post-sales organization. That includes implementation, installation, integration, support, and customer success. And I get to spend some time with Jeff here. Fantastic to have you here. I hear you're making the circuit, actually, right? You're in about a month. Jeff is going to be presenting at SAP Sapphire in front of 12,000 people. So this is a good warm up. Fantastic to have you here. You are a leader in the digital transformation space. Why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay. Jeff Suellentrop, Chief Information Technology Officer, and really more of a CDO or Chief Digital Officer. So I'm responsible for the whole digital transformation of Phoenix Global. Kind of a background and been very fortunate through my career to work with some small companies you might have heard of: Nike, Home Depot, 7-Eleven, Breville, and really lead large scale from an enterprise architecture. My background's industrial engineering, is where I started on the business side, went to the dark side of IT about 20 plus years ago, and been very fortunate to be a part of some very large business transformation, technology, culture, and really drive some pretty incredible outcomes.
Well, we're honored to have you here. Phoenix Global, really interesting company. Jeff was telling me that Phoenix Global purchases the biggest vehicles that Caterpillar makes. So my inner child is thinking that's awesome. Your customers are steel mills, right?
Yes.
So you don't own steel mills, but you do the full build outs of the heavy machinery. So that's both stationary machinery and vehicles. I think we actually have a video clip of a little bit of this, and we can talk over that. Tell us a little bit about Phoenix Global.
So Phoenix Global, we're a world leader in metal and mining services. So what does that mean? So we do services like you'll see behind me, those loaders. Our customers are the steel mills. Typically, we do all the services that involve heavy equipment. So all the largest dump trucks, loaders, bulldozers, cranes. You were just looking at a rock crushing plant. So all the byproducts, most people don't know, is the recycled steel. We carry those buckets around. We do cleaning. Any piece of heavy equipment in the steel mill is ours. And so we use motive through all of those different devices, and we'll go into that a little bit more. But that particular vehicle is called a pot carrier. One of the interesting things about those is not only when it's molten metal like that, it's about 1800 degrees, but when you pour it out, we have equipment that can drive on it. And so the temperatures that our pieces of equipment, the motive cameras see, is pretty extreme. But we provide all those services to the steel mills. Steel mills are our core customer.
Very cool. And this is a true turnaround story, right? So you and the CEO of the company got involved with Phoenix Global post-bankruptcy. is my understanding.
I was recruited, and most people look at me as crazy. I joined in bankruptcy. So I was recruited. The leadership team, PE-owned company, had some challenges. It had grown 8 new sites, and these sites cost $50-60 million per sites in capital expenditures. The contracts are 5, 10 to 20 years long. And so it was grow very quickly, 8 sites in 2 years, all that expenditure. But with the inflationary things, and there were some things missing. So because of that, the organization was in bankruptcy, and a new leadership team came in and was really charged with transforming the organization. And so the CEO recruited me and the COO to really transform. And our goal was to completely redefine how the steel industry works. A lot of times data was old. We looked 45 days in a rearview mirror. And our vision was to get to what we call activity-based management. So we can see real time all of our costs. Our costs are equipment and people. Those are our biggest assets. And how do we get that information near real time? And in the last 2 years, we've replaced every single piece of technology in the company, from safety to ERP to cameras, built AI models, but did a complete transformation. And probably the bigger piece of this is the cultural transformation of iterating, outcome-based, and really delivering value. And so we've been out of bankruptcy for 22 months. And we've beat financial forecast every single month since we've been out.
It's fantastic. So, Pete, yeah. People, process, technology. Where do you start with something like that? I mean, I imagine the logistics piece of it is the highest cost piece.
Yeah, I mean, we break it up, and one of the challenges in coming in that you see a lot in the construction industry and mining industry is, what isn't digitized, right? There's lots of things that are on pieces of paper that an admin enters in. And so we built out a plan of, this is what our end game looks like. These are the outcomes. We want to be able to see real time this, real time that. But one of the areas as we started this is we figured out we do all of our own maintenance on our own equipment. And we had an opportunity there. That data was pretty good. It wasn't on paper. It was already digitized. And so right away, we basically built a roadmap of the outcomes, how we get to activity-based management, what are the constraints, and then we started building an AI model day one on our maintenance data, because that's a huge cost on all those assets. And then we layered in a kind of approach to Motive was part of that. We could do Motive independent of some of the other data layers, and it's actually a key enabler as well. So we sequenced that out into what are the constraints, what are the manual processes, what are all the systems that we need to put this in place, technologies, and then we basically test and learn and iterate, and we're delivering new functionality, multiple new pieces of functionality every month.
How do you decide like how many redundant systems? These are very expensive pieces of machinery, right? How many redundant systems you have at a mill, how you would move something from one mill to another, when you would buy something versus try to repair it?
Well, I mean, the short answer before this transformation was ask Bob. Bob knows all. He's been doing this for 30 years. Ask Bob. We have, and use an example, is a mill most steel mills run 24/7. We have an SLA that we have to dig the pit or move a charge bucket. And so we might have 5 pieces of equipment. Well, 3 of those is all you need to move buckets. But if one of the 3 breaks down, you might have $2 million loaders or $2 million tractors sitting there. And so, Bob engineered whether those are 2 old ones or 2 new ones, or if one breaks down, one rents, we rent another one, we repair one. We built out an algorithm with all that data. So we're taking that data in and looking at maintenance, utilization, age. A lot of our customers have the ability to buy the equipment at the end of the contract.
Yeah.
So you don't want to buy all brand new equipment and then have to hand it over to the customer if you're leaving that contract. So all those things, we built an algorithm looking at the maintenance data that was pretty good quality and fairly timely. And basically now it's called the real creative name, Phoenix algorithm, instead of asking Bob, and it can tell you, ask Phoenix, and it will tell you, we just had an instance where a transmission went out. Do we rebuild that? Do we replace it? Do we dispose of it? Do we need to fill one? Based off of the run rate and the forecast of that mill, it basically drove the maintenance cost up a little bit for those little higher utilization, but there's a threshold of utilization where it becomes, diminishing return. And so the algorithm takes all those things into account, and then we're getting ready with Motive data, new SAP data, and some of the other systems to take that even to another level of detail. But that delivered 10x utilization. We've taken millions of dollars of capital and reallocated it to other places because the algorithm, Bob was good, but Phoenix is better. And there's millions of dollars each site it's able to optimize.
Now, safety must play a huge role in this business, right? I mean, you were telling me about how molten steel and water don't really mix very well.
Yes, no, I mean, they basically make a bomb. And so I think you see, those big pots that you saw on the screen in the video, we haul multiple of those a day. If the road's too rough, the steel can slosh out, and even if it hits a puddle, it can blow every window out in the building with a little bucket full of molten steel and water is not good. So Motive has been really, our initial deployment of Motive, obviously in-cab cameras. We also use 360 cameras. We did quite a bit of tuning because this is all off-road equipment. It's all yellow iron. And it's allowed us to really improve safety, and it really paid for itself. Our safety is up big double digits improvements. And it paid for itself on just the number of safety incidents it's reduced. But all the other data we collect through the driver, Motive driver, the payback is, it's probably 20x when you combine safety improvements and utilization and efficiency improvements.
How did you hear about Motive?
We did a full RFP. So obviously we have a big relationship with all the OEMs. We have heavy Caterpillar, but Volvo, Komatsu, we have some very specialized Terberg and Crest carriers. So we worked with all the OEMs. We've worked with Gardner, and we kind of looked at all the OEMs and all the other in this space. And we did a full RFP, and we had this criteria, but it really kind of came down to being digital. We picked Motive. We looked at all the OEMs, and they could do one thing pretty well. They're very segmented, and we said, hey, we want to do all these things. And we had a concept of, we see Motive as a platform, not just safety cameras, but the driver app, the AI pieces, their willingness, Motive's willingness to share data with us, because like the rough road example, that's not a core Motive concept, but if we don't maintain the road, the mill maintains the road. We asked Motive, hey, we'd like to get some data off of some of the telemetry to see if we can figure out what a rough road looks like from the data. And we've been able to partner on stuff like that. And so we looked at all those different things, and we picked a platform that we can scale at a digital pace. I think that was the other piece. Is a lot of the other people we looked at in the RFP is they could do that one thing well, but we couldn't iterate, we couldn't co-innovate. And yellow iron is kind of a new space. Not a lot of people have this kind of AI in yellow iron. And we saw Motive as a key player and partner there to help us develop, not only the AI for off-road and for our specific equipment, cabling for our equipment. That's how we got the Motive.
Yeah. So the steel mills are your customers. What kind of feedback are they looking from the data out of the solutions?
It's been I mean, the funny thing about it is, one of the things that we didn't talk a little bit about is we had a use case, and this is one of the things we came to Motive is our customers, we have SLAs. We're a service provider to the steel mill. And so the steel mill, we have SLAs quarterly, monthly, annually, and they'll come to us and say, hey, you delayed a pot change, or you shut this down, and here's a chargeback for that. Well, one of our use cases when we deployed Motive is we want a video of everything that we can pull up anytime for those meetings. Our chargebacks have gone to almost zero because we're like, your crane was blocking the door and here's the video of it. Or here's and so it's how it's, but the other thing, so after that conversation, the mill's like, hey, where'd you get those? Right? So, and so we've shared that with the mill. The mill's had some different conversations. They've brought some, and we work with multiple different steel mills. It's not just one company. It's all the big steel mills around the globe. And so different sites and different site management safety teams and operational teams. We've done introductions to the mill, and we actually have a service that we're looking at, because we also do lease some equipment as well, where we're looking at providing some of the Motive tools and our equipment as a service as well. So we even see it as another new revenue stream down the road.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We pride ourselves in being viewed as a partner as opposed to just a vendor. And I think, we've enjoyed a fantastic partnership in this limited amount of time. We like to use their term co-innovate. I think there are things where you've challenged us to build or provide certain things for you along the way. How important is that to Phoenix Global?
I mean, it's really the key point. When I probably overused the term digital, but when I term digital is moving at the speed of business. I think that's what makes great, will differentiate everyone in the marketplace, is who can iterate and learn and develop and deploy and get the outcomes the fastest will win. And I think that's when I talked about, that's why we chose Motive. And there's several use cases, whether it's the rough road example or obviously, on-road trucks, there's cables, they're pretty consistent. The ports are the same. A German pot carrier, that port is a little bit different. So
yeah.
we've co-innovated there a lot around, can we get the ECU data? Can we plug into the ECU? Do we do power? We also do 360 cameras. So that pot carrier that I called out, the driver's seat, when you pull in and load the pot, and then the chair swivels 180 degrees, and so you were facing the camera. When you drive in the barn, when you drive out, it's looking at the back of your head. And so, do you put two cameras? And so there's been a lot of different pieces from how we integrate it, how we have overlapping telematics with some of the OEMs, all those different pieces. I think the biggest innovation, though, that's paid huge dividends is how flexible Motive Driver is. We've eliminated all paper from our driver operations, and it's all in Motive. And so that's real-time two-way communications and a lot of feedbacks. It's fully integrated into our new SAP ERP system. Some of it creates revenue, some of it's for tracking, all those different pieces. There's just a number of pieces where we've kind of think outside the box. And I think Motive's willingness to partner with us there and be a true solution provider and challenge us and push us. The performance has been exceptional, and the stuff we have in front of us is even more exciting.
Well, speaking of the stuff in front of us, where do we go next?
I think we're just now getting into the coaching model. Some of the stuff you saw from this morning, we've positioned our model as we've done standards across our whole with all new technology. Our data is standardized end to end. And so we can apply AI models to almost everything. And so how we mix video and telematics to demonstrate optimal business case and train the driver, not only, hey, here's a safe path to operate, but here's how much throttle and here's how much brake you should provide and what a good path is. Mixing those data things together, that's a big piece. More warnings, obviously. A lot of our equipment doesn't have the traditional shoulder belt. And if you enjoy the dinner table as much as I do, the lap belt kind of disappears. So, we're always developing. In the yellow iron, there's a lot of opportunity to optimize that, improve cabling, how we get that data. There's just, sky's the limit. And, I think we're just going into the driver training and recognition side of it, which we think we'll get another big bump of safety.
Very cool. There might be some people in the audience who are embarking upon this journey for the very first time. Any advice?
I think the thing that I see in having conversations with my peers and some other companies, I have the opportunity to have some of the conversations like this quite often. And I think everyone's looking to do everything at once. I think iterate, define your outcomes of what are the business outcomes you're really trying to do. And it's like, well, duh, I should always do that. But it's amazing how, you put all the outcomes and then you try to do all of them at once. We have a lot of overlapping technologies between OEM telematics and Motive and some other tools, but we've mixed those together to get those outcomes and deliver those outcomes that have the biggest value for the business. Fail and don't be afraid to fail and fail fast, win and win fast. So that whole iteration, and some folks that are more digitally inclined than others, that's probably natural. But I find it a lot in the construction and off-road equipment space. Everyone's trying to do one size fits all. Take your biggest use case, find a solution, pilot it, get the learnings, and iterate. Would be my strongest recommendation.
Thanks for sharing your story with us, Jeff. Jeff Suellentrop.
Thank you.